You're listening to the Roofing Success Podcast, a show created to inspire roofing contractors to achieve optimal success in their roofing businesses. I'm the host, Jim Moline, the co-author of the book, Internet Marketing for Roofing Contractors, How to Triple Your Sales and Turn Your Roofing Website into an Online Lead Generation Machine. I'm also the co-founder of Roofer Marketers, the digital marketing agency for the roofing industry. On each episode, I'll be sitting down with industry leaders to talk about their processes, the lessons they've learned, and how to find success in roofing. Hey, welcome to another episode of the Roofing Success Podcast. A little different today if you're watching live. We're in studio.
We're live, wow.
We're live in studio.
Very cool.
And this will be the first of many that we film live in studio. Just got the new studio built out for a special guest today. Host of Roofing Insights, Roofing Business School, Directory, the former owner of Storm Group Roofing, Dmitry Lipinskiy. How are you?
I did not know you built it just for me.
I built it for me, but
very cool.
But since you're in town,
awesome.
It's good to have you in, right?
Good to be here.
Awesome, man. I'm sure everybody knows you that's in our audience. Your audience is our audience, so I don't think there's much of an introduction. But we're filming this in a day where there's some turmoil in the world. And so, my family has an immigrant story, and I know you have an immigrant story. I kind of wanted to start off with that. What was your life? What led you to immigrating to the United States?
I feel like, I grew up very poor, but it wasn't running away from poverty, but it was chasing better opportunities, if you will. Yeah. I felt like I was cornered. I wanted to be a teacher. And I went to college, I went to university after that, and then I realized that teachers don't make anything. My earning potential in 2005 was $100 per month. When I came to the United States in 2005, I got the cheapest job you can get, the lowest paid job, $6 an hour, and I was able to work my ass off and make $2,000 a month. Yeah. So here you are making $6 an hour and still doing $2,000 a month. I remember I was living in way less than $1,000, so I could save half of my income. Back then. My rent was like $350. I paid off my first Honda Civic within 2 months of work. Like, that was American dream. That's what I wanted. I'm oldest of 7 kids, aging parents, and I just realized, being the first in college, like, my parents are not educated, so they don't have college degrees and stuff. I was first in that way, like, I'm a trailblazer for all my siblings. Yeah. And it hit me when I got to university that I will not be able to take care of my parents with the salary of the teacher. My dad was a business owner. He struggled because of system. Yeah. He many times he didn't get paid or didn't get paid on time. So I watched my dad running, building bridges, running 20 trucks under him, like dump trucks. So he's a dump truck driver. And he was self-employed, one of the first self-employed people in Russia. So back in the day, in the Soviet Union, you did not have a small business. Yeah. And then when USSR collapsed in 1991, you could be incorporated, so you could be your own boss, if you will. So my dad was one of the very first people who went all in, quit government job, and like, I'm going to work for myself. And I watched him struggle because they would build a bridge for like 6 months, and then they would wait to get paid for a year or two. And my mom would help me to get him to get money and stuff. So my dad was an entrepreneur. My mom was stay-home mom. And here I am trying to be a teacher. And it was just not fair, to the parents, to my siblings. I felt like I had to be a responsible one. Yeah. And I started looking elsewhere. I'm like, what if I go to other country? And I surely did. There was a program in the university. You could travel to the United States for summer. you could stay there, like if you're really smart and figure out how to stay.
Yep.
And that's what I did. I got 4 months visa, came in, and I told everyone before I left, I'm not coming back. I did not know anybody, but like, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna become a millionaire, I'm gonna take care of my parents. And it was 2005. It took me 10 years to get my parents here. They moved in 2015. They both have businesses pretty much now. Well, my dad does not have a business now, but we're trying to get him one.
Okay.
And my mom cleans homes, and they both live American dream. They're both here. I moved one of my youngest sisters, and we're trying to get the rest.
That's awesome, man. I think my mom was born in a refugee camp in Austria at the end of World War II. My stepfather was 8 or 9 years old, living in that refugee camp. And it's like when you are living in an area where there's no opportunity, it's amazing that you have to you have to take those risks to I mean, that's a big risk to travel across the world, probably speaking only some of the language, if at all, and just going for it. When you did that, what was the most impactful thing that you remember from that?
I think it's just mentality. It's all in. Most people want to play it safe. Like I call it immigrant mentality.
That's right.
And I actually have done it a lot of times here. It's all or nothing. People don't understand what Indians are going through, like from, Muslims from like Iranian, like political immigrants. You don't have a second chance. You don't have a plan B.
Yeah.
It's all or nothing. And I always say, if you have plan B, plan A is not going to happen. I met a lot of Russians who came to the United States, tried it here for 1 or 2 years, but they did not sell the house. They did not burn the ships, right? So ships. And what happened is, they hit the roadblock here, they lost a job, or didn't make enough money, and then like, okay, we're going back. America is not for everyone. It is for everyone if you want to make it. So there's culture shock.
Yeah.
You're going to be homesick. There's nostalgia. You always will think and remember that back in the day, in your childhood, it was better. When I grew up, it was better. I mean, it was hard for me. Like at the age of 21, I did not speak any English. At the age of 22, it was 1 year experience. So. And I did not go to school here, so I learned English by Eminem songs and Friends. I literally would watch all episodes of Friends, and I would translate it because I watched it there. So I got here, I already knew kind of joke, and I was memorizing 5 to 10 words a day, 5 minimum, 10, like if I'm really intense. And every single day, I had to memorize and learn new words, and I have to understand how they speak, and I have to translate the song. When you listen to the song and you translate it and you listen again, now you understand the phrases, you understand what they're talking about, and you're still going to listen to that song, so you might as well know what song is about, not just the meaning, not just say, hey, what the song is about, actually seeing those words and remember. So it was a journey, but it's worth it. And like I said, it's mentality of no plan B. I'm here, and I can't go back.
There's a book that one of the sharks on the Shark Tank and founder of Fubu, Damon John, wrote called The Power of Broke.
Yep,
right?
I have that book.
There's a different mentality when you have no other option.
Exactly.
Right? There's no other option. And burn the ships. That's a great one too. When we started Roofer Marketers, we did that. Like, I burned all the ships. There was no other option when we started this.
I'll give you the latest one. People ask me all the time, why did I sold my roofing business?
Yeah.
Because you can't sit on 2 different chairs. Like, you will either neglect this or this. So when I look, I'm like, what do I really want? I want to teach people. I want to teach roofers to be successful. And if I keep my roofing business, I either would burn that company to the ground or it would be mediocre company, because if you give it all best here, you can't give it all best here. And we were not monetizing for 3 years. It was like, okay, how do you make money on YouTube? How do you make money by teaching others? I'm like, okay, I have to invest $20,000 in this online school, upload my videos, and hopefully people will buy it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go at it. I'm going to sell my company. And I remember renting the office, first $1,500 a month, and it's easy, much harder to make money in influencing space than in roofing. Like roofing, it's black and white. You go sell a job, it's transactional. You run $4 million company, you can predict what your profit, the whole 9 yards. Well, this is not predictable. Your views can go up and down. You have to be careful. Your sponsors come and go. Your students come and go. And now it's predictable too. But early on, you was like, you have to figure it out.
Once you build it big enough, then it can become predictable.
But you have to go all in.
You got to go all in.
You have to burn the ships and
all
go
in.
on. Yeah.
All in. So let's start with Storm Group, right? You started Storm Group what year? In
2012, 2013.
Okay.
It was winter of 2013. I started branding. Like, I came up with a name 6 months prior. So I sold my flooring business, and we had the agreement that I'll work for flooring business for a year. End up not having a year. After 8 months, we built the team and everything. My replacement, they're like, if you want to go, I can go. I'm like, great. So I moved in March 2013. I already have a company. I already have vehicle rep. I repped my vehicle in Atlanta when we rented U-Haul truck. So I got U-Haul, all my possessions there. And I got a trailer with a Jetta on it. Already had a Storm Group. Did not have a license yet. So I came in, and everybody who knew me here is like, "Oh, you're a roofer now, really?" It's like that. That's how I started. Like, I went all in. I'm like, that rap is not coming off. I don't care how hard it is. I don't know anything about roofing yet, but I will figure it out. And I came to this new town with no friends, no clients, and I did $900,000 in sales first year, which was only like 10 roofing jobs.
So didn't even really understand the business of roofing. Wrap the car. That's burning the bridges.
Exactly.
That's burning.
I understood something. Like, I've installed siding here. Like, I did I did repairs. I did a lot of cedar siding, but I did not run roofing business before. I did not install roofs every day.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, you can become if I want to open a drywall company, like, you probably know how to install drywall. Everybody knows how to install drywall. And I would argue, like, if you want to run a roofing drywall company, you can start today, wrap, advertise, and then you will figure it out. Like, the business of drywall installing is not installing drywall. Business of roofing is not installing shingles. People think it's like, most roofers think, oh, it's all about, it's not. The trade part of it is only 20%, and I had 20%. I could install the roof, and I will install the roof, but that's not the business.
That's not the business.
Exactly.
The business. That's what a lot of people don't understand is your business, this is the product, right? So there are many phases that you go through when you're starting a company, right? And so in the roofing business, I always think about kind of until you get to like that $1.5 million, $2 million mark, that's kind of your startup phase. Would you agree in that area?
Yes and no. I think it's the easiest. It's your honeymoon period. It's very exciting time because especially if you work for someone else. So you should make more money than before. Business might lose money, but you personally should get compensated for the time. So, like, let's say you make $25 an hour and you start running a business, you should pay yourself, let's say, $40, $50 an hour. And that's what makes it, like, it is a startup, but it's a profitable startup, and it's a very generous startup. Like, a roofing business can take care of the owner, especially owner-operator. So in that sense, so it's not like a restaurant when you're going to struggle and you're never going to have money, you need $1 million loan to start it. So yes, it is a startup, but it's a honeymoon. It's almost like, at your wedding, everybody gives you money and you don't have to worry about it. You can go for 2 weeks and not to care about anything a little bit. So first year, you're not going to have a lot of struggles. Most people struggle with the work, but if you do, like, people will support you, community will support you. You will find jobs if you're smart enough, because you cannot be picky. You can, like, almost anything is better than what you had before. Yeah. Almost any gig, any side gig, if you're willing to repair the job for $200, you'll pocket $100. You'll be there for 2 hours. It's better than working for someone for $25 an hour, in a sense. But if you immediately have mentality where it's like, I'm bigger than this and I'm a business owner now, I'm not going to take that job, now you're going to get in trouble because you're too picky, too early, your price is too high, you don't have a brand yet. But I love building a brand. For me, first year is one of the most exciting times.
Oh yeah, definitely. Down at Roofing Process Conference, I met a lot of people that were in that phase, but they were struggling. They might have been on year 2, year 3 of their business, but they couldn't break out, right? And a lot of them I feel, and I talk to contractors too, not just at roofing process contractors, but I talk to contractors all the time, and they get stuck in this, like they don't know what to do next, and they're either, a lot of them are, it's why marketing companies, they kind of have the bad, or not why they have the bad name, but there's a lot of lead gen, home advisor, all that stuff, where people are searching for this magic pill of how to get business. I think in those early stages, there are other ways. Of course, knocking doors, right? That's the fastest way to a job for me. That I tell people all the time, don't go buy leads, go knock a door. That's the fastest way you could get to a signed contract. But then there's networking, joining local Chamber of Commerce and B&I groups and different things like that. How do you feel, what would be the foundation that you would build if you had to start it over again with no money? How would you build your sales pipeline?
For me, it's, I would start with a personal brand, always start with a personal brand. Always be, and this is the cheapest too. So if you have zero money today, and this is what I teach people all the time, and nobody wants to listen. I actually making a video after this is, you know what to do and the things you will not do. Like, I'll give you an example. Nobody's going to argue with you that video works. No one. Like, if you look at the video consumption, I mean, like our consumer behavior is crazy. We all watch videos. We all scroll, right? So no business owner will argue that he needs to make more videos, but he will not.
No.
And for me, it's like if you're first, like you have, in the first year of business, your biggest real estate is your time. You have all time in the world. And you get to choose what you're going to, are you going to consume tons of videos? You're going to watch Grant Cardone, Gary Vee, Bradley, all of the gurus, or you're going to start doing, I recommend do both. Limit your consumption time and start doing before you think you're ready. Like people early on, they think that they're not ready, they're not expert yet, they're not good enough to share. There's no such a thing. You are the business owner. People buy your expertise. Show me your expertise. On the day one, like if you're in the business, like your business starts today, tomorrow you're doing press release. Hey, my name is Dmitry. I'm a flooring guy now. I'm a drywall. If anybody needs it, right? And then every week I want a reminder. Like if I see someone from my network started a business today, I want to support that guy. I want to share. Hey, if anybody wants, mechanic, this guy just went on his own. Support it, because it's a little kid effect. Like when you have 5-year-old and that kid just memorized the poem, and say, hey, I memorized something. Can I say, absolutely. You're going to bring a chair, you're going to elevate that kid, and he's going to, or she will mess up the words, not good pronunciation, you're going to support that kid. Everybody supports brand new business, but it's up to you to throw yourself in front of the people. So I would say Facebook, Instagram, so like personal brand, it'll take you like 6 months.
To your network.
Absolutely.
Right?
And I would also argue that your audience and your personal brand will not be built in your community. Don't target roofers. Don't collaborate with roofers. That's not your target audience. Homeowners. Like when I was doing early videos, like I did not make videos for roofers. I would be like, how to pick a roofing color. Right? Should you install shingles in the wintertime? Things that homeowner would ask, not roofers would. Now, today I have a dual audience, and I do something for the roofers and still something for the homeowners. Understand your consumer. And if you answer their questions, they will see you as an expert. Everything else comes second. You will get the traffic. Good business will always get the traffic. You will get reviews, you will get traffic, but it starts with a personal brand. Now, if you don't do any of that, it's going to be Mount Everest.
That's right.
You will have to spend a lot of money. It'll be way harder, because nobody knows you, and you have to pay, to climb it, and it just doesn't work. It just doesn't. Organic beats all paid, but when you have organic, paid just boosts
amplifies it.
Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly.
You can amplify it. marketing to me is buying market share, right? And you could buy that with your time or money.
Exactly.
Right? Both ways. It doesn't matter either way. So now you've gotten your business. You grew Storm Group to what were you guys doing? 5-6 million?
Up to 5.
Up to 5. Okay, so up to 5. And I saw you guys everywhere. You were ranking online. You were, one of our clients was, you guys were all back and forth with Prominent Construction all the time, and so I got to know you guys from that. Right? I was like, who's this Storm Group? And then started seeing you on YouTube and things like that. You also, I remember at one time, you went and opened an Orlando office. Mm-hmm. There isn't a Storm Group Orlando anymore. Mm-hmm. What lessons did you learn in that endeavor?
I think I opened it a little bit too late, and for me it was, I love Orlando market, but I was too busy doing, I teach people that you have to stay focused. Yeah. Okay. The reason we opened Orlando because Minnesota is so slow in the wintertime. Yeah. I'm like, what can I do? How can I help? So I did all the effort. I got license. I moved car there, the whole 9 years. I failed in recruiting probably more than anything. Okay. So I found 2-3 guys. It was super hard. If I would find almost like a partner or a general manager, and as a matter of fact, what happened is I was running on fumes, not financially, but mentally, and do I want to invest in it? Because Roofing Insights was growing so fast and required a lot of my time. So opportunity that was coming to me, big brands were coming to me, big interviews, right? And I wanted to do it every week. But now I have Storm Group Roofing in Minnesota, I have Storm Group Roofing in Orlando, and I have to fit in my travel schedule. Let's say big lawyer or Dan Tinker from SRS says, let's do the interview. And I'm like, okay, do I go to Texas to interview Dan Tinker, or do I go to Orlando? What's bigger for me? What do I want to do? And remotely, it's very hard to build. You can run a company remotely, but you cannot build it.
Yeah.
And I remember we actually went through John Paramore's recruiting company. He gave us a very good candidate, and that's how it's all ended. He gave us a really good candidate. He flew to Orlando. We met. I gave him 6-figure salary. Okay, he agreed to it. After he agreed to it, I actually introduced him to my team. He was supposed to be sales manager. I have 2 sales guys. He was supposed to run my sales. So we sat down. Everything was good. I agreed to the salary. I'm like, okay, finally I found someone who will help me to run it. And I did not care, even if it cost me money to build. Yeah. I was financially invested, but I just needed the right person in the right seat to run the company. Because my sales guys keep asking me questions, and I could not pay attention to them, so you have to hire. And a week later, he came back to me and said, well, I'm thinking about it. Can you throw in, insurance coverage? And I'm like, here's what I said. I said, go shop for it. Tell me what you can find. So he found a plan for $26,000 a year. And I'm like, deal. If that's what takes you, he was from Chicago. So if that's what takes you to relocate from here to there, you have, I respect that. I want to support you. You're a good guy for for this position. And then I was supposed to go to Expo in Las Vegas and meet there and, finalize everything. And he started ghosting me. He was supposed to start Monday, and Saturday he texted me, I think Saturday, Friday. I did not hear from him for 5 days. And the guy texted me and said, can you throw in a relocation, $7,000? So this guy did not work 1 day for me, right?
Kept asking for money.
Keep asking. So he agreed on salary. It's okay, I'll do it for this. Yeah. Then can you do it $26,000 after you agree? And now it's another $7,000. So at that point, it was not. I could easily say, okay, I'll give you $5,000 to relocate. Yeah. But it was about character. I'm like, this guy is just all about himself. He's me. He doesn't care what he's producing you. I don't even know how he's going to perform. It could be a disaster. I'm like, you know what? I don't think I can do it. I already gave you I think 120 or something to start with, plus some bonuses. I'm like, no. And then, obviously he couldn't do it. Well, he was not planning to. if you're supposed to be in Orlando Monday, start a job, and Saturday night you're asking relocation money, like, right? And at that point, I'm like, so I failed. So my team is waiting for 2 weeks, those two sales guys, and after I told them he's not coming, they're like, okay, like we don't think we can do it. So they pretty much both resigned that week, which was mutual. And I'm like, you know what? It's not worth it. Like, I'm not willing to put all this time. I'm just going to dissolve this company, take care of all the jobs. You know, we've done some churches. Like, it's, you know, like we've done good work. So I'm like, we're going to finish all the jobs. We're going to take care of the warranty claims, leaks, whatever we have. But I just don't want to do it. Like, I don't want to put the effort. And I already knew that I'm going to be selling Stormbrew Minneapolis. So I'm like, I'm getting out of this business, not getting it. I already made up my mind. And I'm like, because again, one of my businesses, Roofing Insights, was growing. And I already have this directory idea. I'm like, I'm going a different direction. I'm spreading too thin. And it's not, can I build company? Absolutely. But is it worth it? Is it like, where should I put my attention? So I just, the lesson was you have to have good people. Like what happened here, like I have an amazing team. I sold it to them. And 2 years before I sold it, they were running the business without me. And I was trying to replicate in Florida. I ran out of time. That's probably the best way to describe it. If I would do it on a third year in business and give a couple years of my energy, it would work well. But mentally, I was not invested in it. I want to just, you know, throw money at the problem versus fixing it myself. And you can't start a business like that.
It takes a lot of money if you do.
Exactly.
Right. Like I've seen companies start up that way. But they have a very clear understanding that they're going to invest maybe 7 figures before they may anticipate profit year 3, year 4. Like they're building something in that regard. I've talked to other contractors that have struggled going into other markets, that have pulled back from markets, and some that have been successful. And the ones that have been successful definitely found those key players. And even though, like, some of them have kept kind of kind of their home base as an operations center or something like that, but they have those key players will make all of the difference for if you're trying to go into other markets. I've talked to some contractors that they get to that 5 million something area in one market, and they feel like maybe they're like, this is it for this market. That's when they go to expand. What do you think do you think that's a good strategy for companies?
I think so. I think 4 or 5 million, there's been a lot of controversy later about that number, but I think it's very sustainable. It's like average McDonald's does 2.7 million per location. Can you have a bigger McDonald's if it's like an airport or stadium or something? Of course you can. But I think it's very manageable, repeatable, scalable. It really depends on the market. Like, you know, if you go, like in Minneapolis, you can probably have 3 offices, you know, put one in the south, like Bloomington, or like Chicago market, or Dallas. You can put them 2 hours away. But if you want a repeatable every day, like the thing about roofing businesses, if you have a hail, if you have storms, you know, you can do 15 1 year. I hate it. I hate those spikes and when you go back, but technically you can.
You can.
Because if you have 5 sales guys, you can add 10, you know, and sell 300 jobs in 1 month if you have recent hail, like what's happening in Houston, I think, right now. You can definitely do it, but can you do it on not hail a year? I think $5 million, like Chicago the last couple of years, did not have any hail, did not have any events. And many companies who've done $5, $6, $7, $8 million, they struggling to do 2, 3. No strategy, just like everything kind of dried up. So I think as a business plan, if you have $5 million in Minneapolis, $5 million in Chicago, $5 million in Kansas City, $5 million in Dallas, you know, you will year in and year out, you will produce it. Like, but if you always go for way more, you know, as a business plan, you might struggle.
Who would be the key players in that $5 million business?
You have to have a very good office manager, just someone who manages phone calls, inquiries, inbound, outbound, just anything like really good at receptionist work. You have to have a production manager. You have to have a sales manager who will make salespeople accountable. And probably GM, general manager, who is running the business. It can be owner, but if owner does not want to be involved, GM. So 3-4 people can do it. And everything else is, your salespeople, you decide if they're employees or if they're 1099s. But again, those are easy to predict. I mean, you probably need 3-4 sales guys, but their salaries and they're paid kind of come, just like crews and stuff.
That's right.
You don't count them as a part of the business, you count them as a resource.
That's right.
You have them when you have sales, you don't have sales, you don't need them, just like with the jobs. But overall, office people, 4 or 5 people, sales manager, production manager, general manager, if you need an office manager.
So I heard that before. One of the podcasts I did with, I can't remember who it was, they were talking about the amount of money per employee that they have. And they had about they were $8-10 million roofing company, and it was essentially each employee, like you're talking about, not sales reps and things like that, because they're commission based and different variable income, but each employee that they had, essentially they had about $1 million in business per employee that they had on salary.
And it's a great analogy. I always compare it, and always trying to explain it to startups like owners, operators. If you're doing everything by yourself, you can do $1 million, but and you can probably do $2 million with 1 or 2 people helping you. But it's easier to make $5 million with 5 people than $1 million by yourself. It's easier to do $10 million with 10 people than 1 by yourself. And people don't understand it. Like if you need $4,000. I need $4,000 and he needs $4,000. It's $12,000 a month. I can go and make $4,000 by myself, but I have to answer my phone call, I have to do the work, I have to send the invoice, I have to wear 3 hats. But if 3 of us doing really good, like, hey, Jim, advertise for me. I'm going to go sell and he's going to produce. If you do what you do really good and he does what he does really good and I do what I do really good, it'll be so easy between 3 of us to get $12,000 per month, because now we're a company, we're a team. Way easier to make $12K 3 people than by myself 4,000. Can I do 4,000? Yes, but so many people, they would rather wear all the hats, take all the pride. I remember we have a company here in Minnesota. In 2013-14, the guy was asking me, why do you need a receptionist? I don't have a receptionist. And I keep my money. Like instead of paying her, I pay myself more. I'm like, you just.
But you didn't answer your phone.
Yesterday we were driving to Chicago, so we just finished this podcast interview with the company, and we were like in a time crunch. So we got there at like at 3, at 6 we were done, and going to sauna location like 2.5 hours away. So as I'm leaving, I didn't have my hotel booked yet because I did not know where I'm going to end up. It was a snowstorm, what's not. So and I'm really quick calling my Brit in the office. I'm like, hey, you know where sauna is. Find me a hotel next to it. And I hang up. And Igor, my video guy, he's like, you know what? I'm watching you. He's with me for over a year, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I never understood it before. But you're so smart how you manage your time. He said, if I ever go on my own, if I ever do anything, he said, first person I hire is freaking receptionist.
Yeah.
It's assistant.
Assistant.
Because I don't do anything. I don't book my flights. I don't, like, if I'm running late, I'm like, hey, Brit, reschedule my next call. I look professional doing that. And like you build this little wall between you and customers. Like if you're not available, your receptionist will always guard your time. It's like a filter. You're way more efficient. And the receptionist, that is the one position that always pays for itself 2-3 times. Always, at any given business. It pays for itself because it'll save you opportunities that you're going to lose otherwise. It will make you accountable for your time. You will have to be actually good at what you do, because now someone's watching you.
That's right.
And if you're slacking too much or you're not doing your activities, they will see it. So it's it's beautiful.
I have Nikki. Nikki takes care of all that. So for me, it's the
makes
same
you
thing.
a better business owner.
Yeah, and you're accountable. I think that there's a lack of accountability I've been thinking about this lately. It's just a little off topic, but I've been thinking about this lately. I think there's a lack of accountability as a business owner sometimes in our roles. So we you talked about seats, right? We run EOS, Entrepreneurial Operating System. You have your org chart and seats and who's in those seats. When you're the owner and in a startup, you're in multiple seats. Mm-hmm. I started thinking about this. Tell me your thoughts. If we had someone hired in that seat and they didn't do the job duties that day, then the next day, then the next day, they're fired. We're getting someone else. Mm-hmm. Why do owners let themselves slack on those things that they were supposed to do and not do the job duties of that seat? Does that make sense?
So why not coming and helping?
We don't hold ourselves as accountable as we would hold an employee sometimes, mm-hmm. right? If part of your job duties as the GM of the company is to do certain things, right? Whatever tasks you have on your plate, as owners sometimes we'll push them off and say, "Oh, we don't have time," mm-hmm. right? "Oh, I don't have time." But if you had an employee that said, "I don't have time," right? You wouldn't let that slide. You would either hire someone for that position, which is probably what you need to do if you don't have time to do it, or you're going to fire them if they don't have the capacity or the capability of fulfilling that role. Why don't we hold ourselves accountable sometimes? Or why don't business owners hold themselves as accountable as they would an employee?
Well, it depends on the business owner.
For sure.
I always, my team knows that I will outwork anybody on my team 3-1. It really depends on you, but your team also will fire you by quitting the job. So if you slacken off, and this happens way too often in the roofing business, if your team sees that you are not doing your work, you're not doing activity, that you're drinking too much, you're partying too much, you're going to all the conferences, and I see it too many times. Why we have such high turnover? Because business owner will will give everybody a hard time, but not himself. Yeah. And sooner or later, what will happen? His team, his sales reps, his production manager will be, you know what? I'm not working for this guy. Yeah. I'm done with this bullshit. He wants me to do it, but he doesn't do it himself. Okay. And it's very important that you do like yourself what you're asking others to do. Accept your wrongs. If you make a mistake, be accountable. Because,
that's right.
Because people will fire you. Yeah. And if you have high turnover, if people quit, I learned my lesson in all of my businesses. Roofing Insights was very hard because I went from construction to creative space, right? Yeah. And creators video guys, graphic designers, they're different people. Yeah. They're much softer. Yeah. So in construction, you can come as who did this?
That's right.
What the heck? You don't see it's not level? Well, if I come to video guys who did this? It's shit. I'm a creator here. Uh-huh. You don't talk to me like that.
That's right.
And I'm doing the same thing. Yeah. I'm just addressing bad work, but I learned early on this space is different. I have to change my leadership style, how I talk to people, the whole 9 yards, and it's hard. But because people will fire you. Yeah. By quitting, and I think it happens more times than we realize. Yeah. Because people watch you, and what I like in our company, people. I never talk how much I work, and I don't feel like I'm working, but people what time did you go to sleep? Uh-huh. They know when I travel. They see because I have so many things on my plate. Yeah. I need everybody's help. But they like to help to offload me. I think if you're doing all your stuff, your team will try to. I remember in Storm Group, when we have major problems, I would come in, guys, I should know about this. You set this house on fire yesterday. How come I'm not getting called? Well, we were trying to fix the problem. If they know you're busy and you're working, they're going to try to fix it without you. But if you always micromanage and you're always in everybody's business, and it's just a recipe for disaster.
For sure. So now your mindset shifted away from Storm Group into Roofing Insights. The Roofing Insights started creating opportunities. You had the idea for directory. What were some of the things that started catching on in Roofing Insights where you're like, man, this is where I want to put my focus and attention?
Well, I always wanted to teach, always,
Yeah.
all my life. Since I was 13. I've done a lot of summer camps with like orphan kids, and like for me, having 30, 40 kids and doing like teaching history, teaching class, for me, it's not just about the lesson, it's what it does. Like it's that personal connection and stuff. And I remember when I started traveling, when people would call me and it's like, hey, I'm struggling here in Florida, can you come and help? I would explain it to my kids, said, hey, Daddy, tomorrow going there. And he's like, where are you going? I'm like, well, this guy, we're blessed. What we have house, we have business, everything's running. But some other fathers don't know how to run their business and they need help. So I'm going to travel to this father who has 3 kids, and I'm going to help him to build a business so their business takes care of their family. And my kids always know what I'm doing. They watch my YouTube videos. They laugh at me all the time. They're like, you can't speak English. Like, learn how to say this word. They're my hardest critics. But when I saw what it does to me, like, I'm not a money-driven person. Like, I understand math and numbers. Like, I understand that you have to monetize to pay your bills and your team. But when I saw the feedback from the community, like, I would make a YouTube video and people like, finally someone said, like, finally. The demand was so big.
Yeah.
Like, demand for online education, for topics that nobody's willing to talk about. I'm like, if I could only do this full time, if I could only figure out how to make money to do what I really want to do, because everything I do is born by demand. Every single product, like school is demand. When I started a business, I wish I have something like roofing school. I wish someone would say, like, I would ask friends, like, I had to reverse engineer. I would go to sellerroofing.com website. I would study everybody, what are they doing, how they're doing. I didn't have any friends. Today, you guys are so lucky. The world has changed. The industry have changed. Today, guys like Dustin Bigler, you know how many people have him on speed dial? Or like Martin Pettigrew with Monarch, or all people who came to our channel, they're sharing with you everything. But people also grateful for it. They come to us like, man, thank you for the content. Thank you. Like, that was eye-opening. That was great. That was great. And I'm like, if I can do more of this consistently, I will be the happiest person on earth. I mean, I'm still do it today. Like, before I came here, we recorded a video. I'm going to do 2 more today. I'm going to go out of town. But if your product and your service born out of demand, you will always be busy. You just have to listen to the audience. What do they want? And I get paid to teach people. 2 of my sisters in Russia are teachers now. And I have this joke, I always laugh about it, that I actually have more students in my class that both of them combined. Actually, 3. My brother is a teacher too in Russian school. That both 3 of my siblings as a teachers in Russia. Like, I have, I teach roofers how to do business, but it's still, people don't realize how busy I am. I do 5, 6 calls a day. I mean, I'll cry with you. I'll talk about your marriage problems. I'll talk about depression. People call me. They take bad loans. How to I'll give them advice, and I'll talk to loan company how to settle it. Like, there's no topics I will not. For me, business is everything. There's no border. Okay, this is too personal. It's work-life balance. No topics that's not important. You can call me and say, hey, Dmitry, here's what I'm dealing with. I have a lot of students now reaching out. They took all of this stupid MCA law with like cash advances, 3, 4 loans, and they're just done. And I remember I took one of those back in the day, a few of those, my roofing business in the wintertime. And I know how hard it is when you can just erase it by filing bankruptcy. And I love talking about it because nobody else is. Like, my competition, everybody wants to be positive, politically correct. I'm like, no, let's talk about real shit.
There's struggles.
Yeah.
There's a lot of real struggles that come with building a business, for sure. One of the things when you started Roofing Insights and you started doing the videos online, what I see when you start putting yourself out there, opportunities just appear. Right? It's an amazing thing. I talked about this with Jonathan Sherwood. I've talked about this, like, everyone who has just picked up their phone and started doing videos, you look at guys like TJ McCormick now with the world's greatest roofer. He just started doing content, and now all kinds of opportunities come up. You have to listen for the opportunities, right? You have to be aware of where the opportunities are coming from. I know some of the contractors that I've had on this show, they start getting those calls. Like, hey, you must be doing something right. What, can you help me? Can you help me? Like, there are so many people looking for that help. But there's so many opportunities that come just from putting yourself out there. Just pick up the phone, put yourself on camera. No perfect English, no perfect backdrop, no perfect anything, no perfect sound, no perfect, and it just happens, right? And all of these things compound. And then I see, then you came up with the idea for Directory, right? When did you launch Directory?
2019.
Okay. And mainly roofers in Directory right now, but you have
everybody.
A lot more trades than...
Yeah,
okay.
well, now it's open to everyone.
Okay.
We have plumbers, electricians, everyone. But we're going for more. It's slow growth, but we have like 1,000 contractors total.
In Directory. What have been some... This is another thing. We talked about this on a flight delay before, that I built a kind of... I heard the same thing from a community. I did a lot of real estate investing in the kind of 2008 to 2013 area out in the Denver area. And I'd be at all the real estate investment groups, and everyone would always have the question, do you know a good? Right? It's just a standard question, not just with real estate investors, but with consumers, right? It's, do you know a good? And that's where I think there's a power in these directories, you named it well.
Yep.
But what are some of the challenges that you've had kind of getting traction with Directory?
Well, the biggest challenge is to grow organically versus bring a lot of capital.
Yeah.
Because your competition is, they all raise money. Like if you go, so let's say I spend $250,000 a year on Directory, and someone spends $5 million a year.
That's right.
How do you compete with it?
Yeah.
Now, I'm a firm believer that grow slow versus big. And if someone, like I have opportunities now, like I can raise capital.
Yeah.
But if I have $2 million in cash, do I have a plan what to do with it? So it's not about money. Like a lot of companies build to sell. I build Directory long term. Like I want to do it right. I'm running against time. Because if you do grow too slow, like people who early invested in you now, they start getting disappointed. That's my biggest dilemma right now. We do a lot of updates. We work 24/7 about it. So it's grown. We have like 5 updates since this year already. Like you can sell offers on it. You can do $99 roof tune-up. You can actually list it. Take the link, put it on Facebook, and say, "Hey guys, here's the coupon you can buy." So we're already like a Groupon. We're already like Angels List. It's kind of combination. But the challenge is, how fast do you want to grow? And my worry, like I watched all of my competition. I talked to Porch earlier in Thumbtack. Thumbtack was formed in 2015. I see the growth, but they all brought capital. Too soon. Like Porch failed in the beginning. They have this Lowe's integration, did not go well for Lowe's and them. So they raised capital. They have I talked to marketing directors there. I was trying to understand the business, and I don't want to make that mistake.
Yeah.
I don't want to go and raise a whole bunch of money and then ruin it, because as you know, marketers will ruin everything. Porch ruined, Thumbtack ruined, Service Magic, Home Advisor ruined, Angels List ruined. They all start well, but nobody became Uber. Nobody became Airbnb of the space. Why is that? Capital came way too early. Investors start waiting in on how much to charge and what the business model is going to be. And now you cannot be you. Like you can either please homeowners and contractors or investors.
Yep.
So what I do is I build, essentially this is my business plan. And this is what most people don't realize. I can retire today. I've made enough money. I can retire, literally. I don't need any of this, for personal gain. I live on half of my income for the last 7 years. So when I was doing Storm Group, like half of the money would go into Roofing Insights.
Okay.
So for 3 years, I didn't make any money. So 3 years, I did not make $1 from Roofing Insights. Classes were free, conferences were free. Like everywhere I go, and I had a studio, and I have a graphic designer on staff. I have videographer. Like all the videos were free. For 3 years, Storm Group was supporting it. To give you a perspective, I could pay myself $200,000 a year. What would I do? Go to Dubai's, buy nicer cars. So instead of paying myself $200,000 a year, I would pay myself $100,000 a year, and I would invest $100,000 in the Roofing Insights. That's what people don't realize. Oh, you're just a YouTuber. Oh, you just no. I'm doing something because I believe in it, because it needs to be said. It needs to I wanted to share, right? And then what I'm doing now is the same thing. I'm having school, Roofing Insights, everything else, building directory. Yeah. So I could pay myself way more. So let's say I can pay myself $400,000 a year. I would take $200,000 home, and I would spend $200,000 in directory. So every profit, every money that I make, I have 2 offices. I have directory office with employees. I have Roofing Insights office. And it's hard to build something with your own cash, but it's the right thing to do, because no one, my story is similar to Craigslist. Yeah. Craigslist is beautiful. I love Craigslist. But if you read the story, the guy would not sell.
Not take money, not sell anything.
Exactly. Yeah. He was determined, and I'm determined. I want to build something like Craigslist, not something like Thumbtack.
Yeah. It's hard when you take that, especially the institutional financing, that type of capital, because there's an expectation on return. And you have to make different business decisions. I have a cousin who was the CEO of a publicly held company here in Minnesota, and the conversations that they had to, their decision making was around in a 90-day cycle, a quarterly cycle. Wow. It's hard to make. They had to make long-term decisions and sneak them into essentially, right? It changes the way that you have to do business when you have other people's return on the line.
Exactly, and that's the problem, because instead of doing what's right for the contractor, right now people are throwing money at me. I have contractors calling me hey, I got this directory job. How much do I owe you? I can't even, we're not equipped to charge even 3% on transaction. It's common, but I'm enjoy it. Enjoy it. Every single day someone calls me, I just got a lead, and they're getting for free. I'm not even selling leads. Yeah. I'm not getting paid on transaction, and I am guaranteeing $20,000, and I have a few claims already, but I'm going to do what's right. It costs me a lot of money. People will say, oh, you leave money on the table. I'm not. I'll make my money in time, but build the product first.
So one of the things with Roofing Insights that, when you're on YouTube, you got to get views, right? So good thumbnails. You were talking. I saw a video that you did about click-through rate and things like that. I think that some of the more, kind of engaging content that you've created a lot of times is around. You've almost become or made yourself a policeman of the industry. I lived in Denver for many years. There was a guy named Tom Martino, the troubleshooter, right? And he would go and find the people that were ripping people off. And it seems like you've taken on that role. Why? Why do you want to be the policeman of the roofing industry? And not just, I see you doing it in 2 ways. Contractors that are not doing the right thing for their employees and sales reps and things like that. And then also other people in your space, like the gurus kind of space too. Why did you take on that role? What is that,
Many people accuse me that I'm doing it for likes. It's actually opposite. If you understand the social media, you should understand the risk. And it's calculated decision, because I know, let's say if I pick a fight with Lee Haight, he picks with me right now, I know I'm going to lose audience. I know it's going to be controversial. I know I will lose brand deals maybe. I know people will be afraid to do business with me, because nobody likes controversy. Well, everybody loves watching it, but nobody wants to be...
Because it's good for views.
Not really.
No?
No. controversy is not good for views. Here's why. It does not stay. Like what's good for views is search based. Like if I do video like how to install shingle, that's good for views because I'm gonna get millions of views in the future.
Over time.
Exactly. If I call out local roofing company, I will get 3,000 views in the next 24 hours, but that video will never get 1 million views because nobody cares, right? So the reason I do it is number one, huge demand. Like people are begging me. Like I cover 1% of stories. Like, you want me to show you my DMs? How many people reach out? It's like, hey, this guy is a crook. When are you going to talk about this guy? When are you going to talk about this? This guy owes us $100K. I want to set the precedent. I want people to know that there's a media company that you can get air. And I think that does amazing effect on the entire industry. Now people know if they cross the line, whether marketer, whether manufacturer, supplier, everybody knows there's no limits. If you cross the line, you might get in the local news and everybody will know right away. So sometimes I do the video just to show the story, to show the trend, and send the warning to everybody who does it. My job is not to expose every single person out there. But if you're the business owner and you're not paying your sales guys or your crews, I will make a case out of one guy. So other 100 guys, took a notice like, shit, I have to fix my business. So that's my mission, if you will, with those videos. And I don't do a lot of them. I've done 750 videos. Yeah. You probably will not come up with 10 that are, scam alerts. Like try to come up, like how many did I do? How many people did I expose? 3 marketers, 2 business owners who didn't pay bills, 1 or 2. Here's the crazy part. I exposed 2 people, like as a fake gurus. 2. And I'm going to name them. Lee Haight and Anthony Delmedico. But I promote 15 others. So nobody, if you watch my channel, like Jim Johnson, Adam Bensman, all the good guys, have I ever got a compliment? Have I ever or John Cena, all of the guys, right? So I bring them, I show them, I put them on the stage. I'm like, hey, listen to these guys. Like, they're so good. And people like, okay, good content. Thank you, right? So you will endorse 10 good guys, good mentors. You will disagree with one, and it's not like I'm hating them, but you will disagree. It's like, hey, what you're teaching is wrong, and I'm not afraid to say it. Or you're a hater, or you're just building your building, by destroying others. No, that building is built on the wrong foundation. It's going to collapse by itself. I'm just showing people, just like you show that this roof is wrong, I'm showing like, hey, this is wrong, and someone needs to say it. And usually what I air is what everybody's already know or thinking about or have. So I'm just giving it a public air time. That's it. But people will remember negative, but it's not true that it gets views or likes. It actually opposite. It will get you roasted yourself because every time you point a finger, people will point at you. You become a target. But but you are building a personal brand, and my personal brand is I stand for my beliefs. I'm not afraid to speak up, and if you cross the line, and I will not stand for myself, but I will stand for someone in my community. Yeah. And people who as a matter of fact, I rarely talk about people who've done me wrong, but to others. Like I have disputes with marketers. People screwed me and took me for money. I'm not gonna use my channel to go after them. But if you mess with my people, my audience, my student, I will consider it.
Yeah. So what I do respect about the way you do it is you're willing to go and sit across the table with someone. That's what I respect about it because there's a lot of people that don't like this.
Yep.
This is a scary thing. They'll do things behind a keyboard and on a camera, but they're not willing to sit. It's a different energy. Right? When you're actually sitting in front of someone, especially when you're not having a comfortable conversation.
and it cannot be heated. I actually have very cold mind. I have, someone recently wanted to fight me, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to fight you. I have a very strong body, but I have very cold mind. Like, I'm not going to get heated. Yeah. I control myself. You can jump on me. If I see you, let's say, punch the woman, I'm taking you down.
Yeah.
You have, right?
Yeah.
Or like another person. But I'm not going to do it for myself. Okay, go ahead and punch me. Like, what's the point? I'm not attacking you. I don't hate you. And if you change, I will be the first one to admit, hey, that person is a different man now.
Yeah.
He agreed to his mistake, he apologized, and he's doing something different. But if you're going to just attack me for talking about you, well, bring it.
Yeah. So kind of to wrap up here, I like to always ask people who found success in their roofing business, what is the greatest insight that you can share with our audience that helped you find success in roofing or in all of your businesses? We'll just add that on it for your case.
Sure. I was listening to Alex Hormozy recently, and I agree 100% with his definition of not success, but he said that he talked to a lot of billionaires, and billionaires do the basics. And I'm an early riser. Like if you wake up 5 o'clock every morning, you go to the forest, you kill something, you drag it home, and you cook it, you will eat.
Yeah.
But never move to too many things, do the basics. I found, like for me personally, like right now, you have to stay focused. Like my opportunities are endless, but I have to keep doing what got me here. Like I'm a YouTuber, I have to produce 3 quality YouTube videos per week. That's number one. That's what I'm in business for. People will throw you all the, like, you know, if you're a roofing business owner, people will say, well, there's money in windows, there's money in gutters, there's money in siding, there's money. Stay focused. You build $3 million company by doing roofs. Perfect it. Like go up. And what I see a lot of roofers do, they start going to different markets. They start opening new offices. They chase like I could do that too. People call me all the time like, hey, why don't you talk about this? When are you going to interview this guy? When are you going to do that? Why don't you talk about commercial roofing? You know why? Because I'm not an expert in commercial roofing.
Yeah.
I will give you airtime. I will film you do it. But don't do anything that you're not expert on. I only talk about what I know for a fact, that I'm good at it, and it just do the basic activity, basic. Like every week, like for me, it's, you know, you have to meet the team every week. So have a meeting with the team. You have to perfect your trade. Like it's a basic stuff. It's basic activities, but it's constant. Like, I don't care if you're 3 years in business or 30 years in business. People who really made it, they do the same thing over and over again, and they become successful. And people who catch early success and then got lazy, now you don't wake up as early. Now you don't, if you're a door knocker, you don't knock as many doors as you used to. If you're a marketer, you don't do blogs or videos. Yeah. And you will see, people, my audience will see if my videos are going down. But if you do it every day, like just like going to the gym, you're not going to be the same person. You will become stronger, not overnight. Go work out right now and look at the mirror. It's the same guy.
Same guy.
But do it for 3 years, you will say, shit, like I'm a different person.
Yeah.
Do YouTube, like someone asked me recently about my YouTube, I don't remember what it was, but it's like, oh, you're really making it now. I'm like, you know what? I've done 750 videos. 750 videos in like 5 years.
Yeah.
And I'm not planning, but if you look at the quality now, like if you look at quality
That's
of this video and 3 weeks ago,
That's right.
probably not a lot. But today versus last year, huge difference.
Yeah.
Because every day I wake up, I work out, I do sauna, I come to the office, and a basic activity. It got me here, I'm not planning to stop.
So do the basics.
Do the basics.
Awesome. Well, check out Roofing Insights on YouTube, Roofing Business School, Roof Directory, every other thing that Dmitry has going on. He might lose focus and come up with something else, but probably not. Looks like you're pretty focused for now. Like, share, comment, subscribe, all of those things. This has been another episode of the Roofing Success Podcast.
Thanks for having me, man. That was awesome.
If you would like to generate more sales through your digital marketing efforts, please visit roofermarketers.com and get a copy of the book, Internet Marketing for Roofing Contractors, How to Triple Your Sales and Turn Your Roofing Website into an Online Lead Generation Machine. Also, check the training section of the website for guides on everything from running effective pay-per-click ads to how to properly set up your Google My Business listing. This has been another episode of the Roofing Success Podcast. Thanks for listening.